Before I start the show, I want to thank Donner Ski Ranch for their support on getting this next series of interviews. Donner's been a part of snowboarding's history since the very beginning, and the owner, Marshall, and his staff are just as cool today as Donner staff have ever been. The FNRad Snowboard Podcast is presented by Skyview Campers, Never Summer's innovative take on the tiny home. Designed and built in beautiful Colorado, check out skyviewcampers.com. Wired Snowboards builds quality snowboards by hand 10 minutes away from my house. Visit wiredsnowboards.com and order one today. Fixed bindings are easy to adjust, long-lasting, high-performance bindings built to have less impact on the environment. Check out fixedbindingco.com. Rip Curl outerwear, strength, durability, and performance. Designed to search further in the snow, head to ripcurl.com and check out the Anti-Series jacket. I can't wait to rock this thing. New Greens, 100% organic, vibrant green juice. Buy yourself some at newgreens.com and use code FNRad at checkout for 20% off. The Boardroom Snowboard Shop, best selection, best prices, Vancouver's premier snowboard shop. The Boardroom ships to anywhere in North America, so go to boardroomshop.com or visit their stores in Vancouver and North Van. Support also comes from Mount Seymour, Grouse Mountain, Cypress Mountain, the Pro Standard GoPro accessories, and our friends at 1910. You can use code FNRad at checkout for 20% off at 1910.com. The Haven's a center for transformational learning located on beautiful Gabriola Island. Plan a visit at haven.ca and use code FNRad at checkout to save 10% off their Come Alive program. Before I started FNRad, the pro snowboarder I had the most interactions with was this week's guest, Jimi Scott. I think I first met Jimi at the opening of the Snowboard Ranch in Bethany, Ontario, which he helped to design. Summer of '95 at the Ice Age House at Timberline, we stayed with Jimi and a whole cast of characters. And then Jimi was a staple on Ice Age team trips to Utah and Oregon. Jimi's a blonde surfer from Southern California and a fierce competitor, but I always knew him to be a kind and humble person and a family man. He didn't get blackout with us on that Utah trip. He was probably the first person I met whose job was snowboarding, and he took it very seriously. I was super stoked to sit down with him last week at the Legends of Tahoe event, where he actually dug pipe while the rest of us rode powder. Here's an interview with the legend, Jimi Scott. Yeah, once you have kids, that's pretty much it for
kids,
selfishness, right? Like for selfish endeavors. Yeah. Skateboarding, snowboarding, roller skating. What was the first snowboard that you saw? Like, when did you see a board and go like, I want to try
When
that?
I was riding for tracker trucks and vertical roller skating, Del Mar, Transworld snowboarding or skateboarding, put out Transworld snowboarding.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I saw a snowboard.
It's 87, that would have been.
Yeah, I can't, dates, don't hurt me with the date stuff. I can answer questions, but maybe not dates.
Did you see it right away as like, wait, this is another source of revenue kind of thing, as like Sluggo or some other skater guys did?
I saw it as another source of fun because at the time, vertical roller skating was kind of, even though Fred Blood put it on ABC World, Wide World of Sports.
Yeah.
We were kind of the outcasts.
Oh shit.
And but Larry Balma hooked me up. He gave me my first sponsorship of all sponsorships.
Yeah.
And when I skated and was pen paling with a guy in Europe named Thomas Kalak. Okay. He was a vertical roller skater.
Yeah.
And he worked for Titus. And I said, why don't we have a world championships for vertical roller skating?
Sick.
So he brought it up to Titus, and Titus said, no, let's do a world championships for skating.
Skateboarding.
So, skateboarding and vertical roller skating.
Oh, so the original, so this is still, that's early.
Yeah, 86, 87.
Yeah,
don't really quote me on the dates.
Yeah.
But of course I said yes.
Yeah.
Tracker, the best sponsor ever, they said I could work at the factory packaging copers, copers that used to go on the trucks.
I do know them.
To make extra money to go to Europe. And then I still didn't have enough money. So Larry suggested, why don't you ask Madrid to help with the cost? And I was writing for a shop in Arizona because I was doing a lot of demos out there called the Bear Cover.
Wild.
And they made us sweats and filled the gap of the money that we didn't have. Because they sent me and Brian Wainwright, my twin, but he still does it. He's still flying Brian. I'm so jealous. Too many surgeries. But when we went to Europe, I won. Or actually, Brian won, and I got second.
Yeah.
And I forget what he got, but he never really got it. But second place was one of the first Burton Airs that was sent out to Europe.
Yeah.
And I won it, and then I did the Swatch Tour skating. And on the back screen, they'd have like times they'd show like video.
Yeah.
And the video that they showed was alternative sports. And, they're showing, dirt biking and BMX, it's like a 5-minute break so people can get popcorn and stuff. And it was funny because then all of a sudden I think it was Tom Burt, Terry Kidwell, and someone else from the Juicy Fruit commercial.
Yeah. Craig Kelly was in that
and
one.
I'm maybe Craig too.
Yeah,
and I'm standing on the deck with everyone. I won one of those last year. I haven't even tried it. I'm going to try it.
I can't believe it. Where's the first place you take it? Because you're from Encinitas, right?
Originally Long Beach, California. And then I moved to Encinitas.
Yeah.
Actually Del Mar, and then Encinitas now.
Yeah.
But it was really funny because I did a demo at Flagstaff, Arizona.
Yeah.
You good to go?
Yeah, we're going.
Okay.
I get panicked.
No worries. Like I said, don't embarrass me too much.
You know what? Owning the roller skate thing is fucking... it's just dope, dude. Like
it took me around the world.
Yeah.
And it gave me a lot of other gifts. And the coolest thing was I won that snowboard. Didn't even have it. Was doing a demo at Flagstaff, Arizona. And Brian Harper, Brad Stewart, and Carla Del Pecchio, if I'm pronouncing it right, they work for the Bear Cover. And we did a huge demo. And they're all, hey, we're going to the Snow Bowl. Do you want to try snowboarding? And I was like, I won one, but I don't have it there. We're at the Bear Cover. We have all the stuff you need. Let's go. So I went up, and Brad Stewart was my teacher, basic teacher. And I pretty much got it and followed, did the runs with him. And then I remember the one roller, this roller that kept jumping over, I was like, I wanted to do a frontside stiffy. So I did it. And I landed right on my butt, perfect transition, and still was holding the stiffy position. And they were all cracking up. But that was my introduction
right there.
That was your
first day you're already going for air.
Well, yeah. Soft snow. So
yeah. No, that's epic. That's epic.
On a basic note, that next season was 89.
Yeah.
And I took all my Swatch money that I made, and I did the Zele Rocky Mountain tour in Colorado.
Sick.
And at the end, I won the tour. Came out of nowhere because the vertical roller skating, strapped in, anything that I tried to do on the snowboard, I was already doing it for years.
Easy.
It was natural.
Yeah.
I just needed to learn edge control.
Yep.
And I learned that from Andy Coughlin, Jack Coughlin, and Brian Delaney. They're the ones that really taught me how to turn and keep and rail. It was unreal.
That's so sick. So you score a Burton sponsorship at that point. You're like head to toe Burton, except Airwalk, right?
Airwalk I wasn't sponsored during that season, 89.
I mean the next season.
Yeah, so right at the end of the season, I won the tour.
Yeah.
So John Husko, a guy I did skate demos for, actually became the Burton team manager.
Yeah, perfect.
And I told him, and he's like, would you like to ride for Burton? And I was like,
sure.
Well, yeah. Skateboarding's hurting me, so I'd love to try something else that hurt me.
You told me that the reason that Airwalks were so good was that they were taking input from everybody, like everyone on the Burton team or like anyone that would ride those Airwalk boots, and the roster was off the charts.
Well,
but they were listening to what you guys were saying.
Yeah, no, Airwalk was definitely athlete oriented. I mean, in the beginning, I'm kind of in the fog about it, but I think Tony Hawk was part like designer of the shoes.
I think you're right. I think he had a pro model on Airwalk at some point.
Like in the beginning, it was cool because when they made snowboard boots, I was like, yeah, can I, they hooked me up and they gave me a couple ads and everything was good.
Dude.
Fun, I should say. At the time, we didn't know what was going on. We were just having fun.
Yeah. So does snowboarding take over for 10 years in there? Like,
I'd
that
say
was your main thing?
Right at 89 when I won the tour and got sponsored by Burton. I stayed pro skating for maybe 1 year. I went to Europe skateboarding one more time, went to the World Championships.
Yeah.
Got second behind Brian again,
Yeah.
But It's just, I was like, my first knee surgery came from doing a handrail on my skateboard. So like, I thought, you're strapped in, it's safer. Little did I know it's not as safe as you think. But no, it was. You're
going bigger, and there's.
Yeah, but back then, bigger isn't that big as what the kids do today. I mean, it's insane.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. I don't know all of the timeline, obviously.
Okay, but I can kind of fill in right there.
Right.
1990.
Yeah.
I'm riding for Burton. Paul Alden was the team manager then. John Husko was like the assistant, I think. He kind of faded out.
Yeah.
Did the American tour, whatever it was. I can't even remember what place I got on that tour, but I placed really good on a few things. With Burton going to the U.S. Open was like a really interesting story because like I was telling you earlier, it was like I got off the plane, they picked me up, and I'm like, hey, where's Brushy? Oh, he broke his finger in the pipe. And I'm like, what? And then, where's Jacoby? Oh, he got a concussion. He's in the hospital. And I'm all, what? Really nervous. And why'd that happen? Oh, it's very icy. And I've never experienced ice. I'm from, Colorado, California. It's all, hard packed, sometimes powder. Right. And I'm just still, second year into snowboarding. So I was really nervous. And I remember riding the halfpipe at Stratton, and I maybe got an inch or two at the top, but not even out because it was so icy. You could see the dirt through the wall. And I was like, God, I'm scared. This is gnarly. And the night before the contest, it dumped like 3 feet.
Oh, nice.
And I got up there as early as I can. I'm going to be the first person. But Craig was already walking up the middle of the pipe.
I love it.
And he turned around and looked at me and goes, no way, come on. So he took me up, and, they cleaned the pipe, and I practiced, and I started getting like 3-4 feet out. And it was really fun. I got a good spread in the magazine. Transworld, and it said Jimi Scott enjoys East Coast hospitality. I do remember that.
That's super sick.
And it had all the East Coasters and then me. They were a little upset because my photo was big, and but it was cool. I mean, Stephen Hayes, Mike Hayes, all the East Coast guys, they were nothing but nice to me.
That's rad. That's super rad. So then Bert Lamar must have approached you at some point and said, look, I'm doing this.
Well, that was a few years later. What it was is in 91, going to the U.S. Open, in 90s, at some point, Jack Coughlin, Andy Coughlin, bailed Burton to go to this company called Apocalypse.
Oh, you did Apocalypse before... Okay, so did you get to meet Regis and everything?
Yeah, Regis Rowland, he said, if you're going to tell me how you want your snowboard, you're going to learn how to make it yourself. So he made me put my own rubber dampening in the core and the edges. And so he said, if you're going to tell me how you want it, you need to know how it's made.
Right.
So I was at the factory, and it was, I want to say Albany, New York.
Yeah, somewhere in upstate New York.
Yeah, upstate New York.
Right.
And it was one of the greatest experiences.
That's
like seeing a
cool.
snowboard made.
Yeah,
I've seen skateboards made, but I've never seen a snowboard.
Did you get to choose your shape? Because it was an asim shape with a deep heel
everyone
side?
thought it was asymmetrical, and it wasn't.
It was a twin board with a weird nose
I
and
made
tail
the tip
shape.
and tail opposite, so it looks symmetrical, but it actually was a symmetrical snowboard.
I fucking love this.
No.
I nerded out on this shit. That's epic.
It was cool because we did it, and he showed me how to do it, and then I'd call him a few times. I got a side story for you on the board, but it was a great time. But then when we went to the U.S. Open that year, I not bragging and boasting, but I had won the Open, 1991, and on an Apocalypse snowboard. And the very next year, when I started touring, Apocalypse started kind of folding.
Yeah.
And they had me and Terry were the last two guys because Terry Kidwell rode, which that part of it alone, riding with Terry, like I remember going, I forget what resort, but I went from, Terry, check this out.
Yeah.
Went down and hit the side of his cat track. And I turn around, I look at Terry, and he passes a jump and goes all the way up the hillside and hits a stump and goes super huge. And I'm like, whoa, I guess there's more than what meets the eye, and you can do more.
Yeah.
Like not just what you see, like a rut here and a rut there.
Yeah.
And, it was unruly to ride with Terry Kidwell for a whole, good season and a half.
And he was just the godfather of freestyle snowboarding.
Yeah, I was just like,
oozing style, unbelievable.
No, he was one of the ones that taught me how to ride too. Like, I mean, straight up, you know.
Yep.
A good crew like Terry Kidwell, Craig Kelly, Kevin Delaney, Jack Coughlin, Andy Coughlin. Those guys were like, you have to learn how to ride your board, you know, and that's what I was like, such a gift to win a board and get to be in this new realm. And all of a sudden I win the U.S. Open, and then very next year tour, Apocalypse is folding. They're owing us money, you know, that we're supposed to be paid.
Yes.
And at the end, I'm in the middle of the tour, like the pro tour, the world tour, world championship tour.
Yeah.
And they can't pay anymore. And that's when Lamar approached me and said, "Hey, I'll finish out the tour, make you pro model, but you know, will you ride for me?" And I was like, "Well, let's see. I'm $30,000 in debt on my credit card that Apocalypse wouldn't reimburse from the travels and stuff."
Yeah.
And of course, I said yes. And then I got introduced to a whole new crew.
Was the money fairly good? Did Bert did he clear up your credit cards and start paying you checks?
I filed bankruptcy for it.
Yeah. Wow.
I didn't put it on anybody. It was my own responsibility.
That's incredible, Jimmy. That's yeah.
And it sucks to say that, but it's the truth.
Man, that's what you did.
I mean,
right.
I did. I sat there in court, and this lady's like, all these washers and stereos and all this stuff, and the judge is like, no, click. And then they come up to me, and I'm like, oh, I did this travel. I'm a pro athlete. I know that sounds funny.
And my sponsors bailed.
And they pay it all reimbursed, and they're not reimbursing. If you look at the card, it says rental car, hotels, airplane.
None of this is frivolous. This is
Boom,
all
cleared.
Yeah.
I was like stoked, and then began a new journey. And I won the world title that year.
Unfucking believable.
And like the worst part of it was a summer camp. I'm going to vertical roller skate like I used to, and I skated the ramp for a few weeks, got some really good shots.
Yeah.
And right at the middle of summer camp for oh God, I want to say, I can't think of the snowboard camp.
Was it at Blackcomb or was it at Hood?
Hood.
Then it was either Wendell's or Mount Hood, like the HSSTC or something like that.
No, it was the other one.
Oh, then it's and they're still going. It's,
I know.
High
I'm sorry
Cascade.
to run a blank for you.
High Cascade.
High Cascade, exactly.
Yeah, that's right. And they had the ramp.
Yes, the ramp. So I was skating with Todd.
Yeah.
I did an air, landed, and there was dust on the ramp, and I broke my ankle. Tib fib, outside dislocation.
Oh, shit.
I ended up with a pin and a plate.
How expensive was that? Did you have insurance?
I had insurance, of course.
Good for you.
I was trying to be a smart athlete.
Yeah.
I was groomed with Tracker and Tony Hawk.
There you go.
And I had Brian Ridgway. He was the most influential person. He's the greatest because he was our team captain at Burton. And he always told me, be responsible no matter what goes on.
It's amazing.
Have insurance and pay your taxes.
What a great, you need that. You really do need that.
Especially when you're old.
Yeah, totally. So that's the heyday.
That kind of was the heyday.
Because Ice Age is great. Those guys are awesome and all that. But that Lamar team was
fun.
So dope. Zombo, you. Fucking
Rankwit.
Johnson. Oh my God.
Gilly.
Oh, Gilligan. Yeah, I've reached out to him. I'm going to have Gilligan on the show.
I miss Gilligan. He was the coolest on the tour. Like, I got to travel with him.
His style was so good, hey?
When we went to Japan one year, Rankwit and I forget who else it was, they trashed the whole way through. So the Japanese distributor sent him home, and then he turned to me and he goes, "What would you like?" And I said, "Well, I want a XL7, I think, or whatever, the video camera, Sony."
Yeah.
And they bought it for me.
Oh, my God.
Because we were good boys.
Yeah.
It was fun, though. But then the next season, like I said, I broke my ankle during the summer. And then as I rolled into the next year, Bert was like, "I don't want to have you competing this year." And I was like, "Why?" I was first, and I'm not going to come through this?
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, we don't know." And I was like, "No, I still want to compete." So I think it was Gilligan that came with me on most of the competitions because it costs so much to send someone to a contest, one rider.
Right.
So he wanted to kind of fill it in.
You split the room, and you split the car, and you split the thing.
Yeah, so it was good, and it was fun. But I finished second that year after a broken ankle.
Oh, fuck. Good
second
for you,
in the world.
dude.
So I came back.
When was the Rob Gracie friendship forged?
I'd say 91, I think. I met him and then moved in with him at Snowmass.
That's it. And you were you were the first example to me of a photographer athlete relationship where he's making money taking pictures of you. You're making money getting his pictures published.
Oh, he's making money taking pictures of lots of people.
Right, but you and him were tighter. Like he
used to let me edit all his photos, but he'd say stack them right here, the ones that you don't like, and I'll go through them again.
Yeah,
and I did pretty good, I guess.
Yeah, well, that's the trick, right? Like Tina and Shannon would go to the headquarters at Transworld. Yeah, she's not here, but Shannon Dunn and Dave like moved where the magazines were, because if you had access to the photo editor and saying like, hey, maybe this one looks pretty good, you could get
more photos. Yeah,
you get more photos.
I never brown nosed any way through my tour. I was always straightforward.
But you were friends with the dude, and the dude was an amazing photographer.
Oh no, Gracie was.
It was so crazy.
He helped my career with a lot of photos that I got.
So crazy that he was skiing and smoking darts.
Oh my God, he was with Hetzel. I guess the one story you probably should ask Hetzel about this. They went to Snowbird, and they got to the top of the tram, and they got out, and Gracie passed out. Like got off the tram, took a few steps, passed out, and then when he woke up, he lit up a cigarette.
He passed out, but
from the altitude and being a smoker. You know?
Of course. Yeah, being from sea level, even being up here, like the walk up these stairs is. I was
sucking palm water when I hiked to the pipe.
Oh yeah,
yesterday.
right. That's when I saw you up there. So, did they buy you away from? Did Ice Age buy you away from Lamar, or did something melt down at Lamar?
Kind of.
It kind of bought you away at your prime.
Bird at the time, he even though I got like second after I broke my ankle and came back.
Yeah.
He didn't really want to send us on the whole tour.
Okay.
He didn't want to send a bunch of people. He didn't want to send one person. But Bert was great. I mean, he helped my career to the point. There's no doubt about it. But when I met Mike Madlener from Hawaii and then Michael Paz and Michael Botello. It was at a trade show, and it was really cool because when I went to the booth, Laird Hamilton's there.
Yeah.
And they said, we're going to send you out of the trade show aloha style. And I'm all, what's that mean? And they said, whatever you see and you can carry and put around your head and neck, you can take out of here right now.
That's amazing.
So they were like throwing stuff like Lays, but not Lays, but it was like shirts and everything. And it was so fun. I was like, you know what, I'll think about it. And then I was like, well, they tripled my salary. Yeah. Which I told Mike not to do.
Sure.
And in the long run, it hurt him.
Right.
Because he got Tom Burt, too.
Yeah.
And he did the same thing.
Right, of course.
And it hurt NSU, but what really hurt NSU is they had a contract for all their sewing, snow, as well as surf in Hawaii with Hawaiian company.
Yeah.
And they couldn't fulfill the orders. So he came to the States to have another sewing company fulfill the orders, help fulfill, and the company in Hawaii sued him for doing that.
Wow, no,
and
I
that's
didn't know
why
that.
NSU failed because he got sued.
Yeah, because on the North Shore, NSU, like the surf gear was going off.
Oh, I know. When I'd go to Japan, like in between, I'd stop in, Akila Aipa would take me out anywhere pretty much.
Jesus.
Gavin Sutherland. I mean, these guys were like saints to me. Like I'm surfing where I want to surf, surf pipe, hey, this is Jimmy, let him get a wave. And of course they picked the worst one. You got it. And he says, if they say go, you go. And of course, I slam and, never got hurt, but definitely, growing up, I've been surfing since I was 7. So I was like, this is a fantasy.
Yeah.
Riding for NSU.
Yeah.
Which was Ice Age.
Yeah.
And they'd route, I'm going to Japan. I'd stop in Hawaii, fly to Japan, and then come back to Hawaii, and then go to wherever I'm at.
What a dream.
Yeah, it was really cool for a while. But then when Mike got hit, Madlener and Paz really hard, it was hard for them. And then the Japanese took over the Ice Age part of it.
Yep.
As NSU folded.
Right.
And that's where the kind of the drama began.
Of course.
Because
Botello
ended up being our team captain. Mm-hmm. And the Japanese were paying me and Tom Bird a certain amount. Am I allowed to tell the truth?
Yeah, that's the whole reason we're here.
I'm sorry, Botello. I love you, dude, but it was wrong what you did. He got our checks, and he skimmed them, and then I was like, I'm not supposed to be paid this much. Oh, don't worry, it's coming. Don't worry, it's coming. And then I got a call from Oishi, the main guy in Japan, And I just blurted it out. Why aren't I getting paid what we talked about, what I signed for?
Yeah.
And he was like, what?
No way.
That doesn't make sense. And a week later, I flew to Japan, kind of spilled the beans, and they fired Botello, kept me, and Tom Burt was owed a lot of money too.
Money
to me, he's one of my mentors, and he's getting screwed.
Fuck that shit. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to badmouth Botello.
No, I love
and
Botello
you're not
still.
Badmouthing him. It's just that's what happened. What happened.
It's just telling history how it was. I can't BS the whole way. You got to tell some truth. Wow,
Did
you know
do
what?
Any seasons in Tahoe?
No, but Don Bostic was here, and I did an event with, I built the course, and it was right there. Right there.
Yeah.
And Michael Bassich won. Mikey B, Tina's brother. I forget what we had. We had like a couple jumps and a big grinder, like something to rail slide, and then quarter pipes at the end. It was like 3 different hits.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I came here. And
what sponsor were you on at that point? Was that early, still like Burton days, or was that more like?
I think it was Lamar. I think
a lot of cool things would have happened while you're on Lamar, right?
Yeah, he created so many good opportunities.
Yeah,
Bert was, I guess in the history that I know, Bert's the one that helped everyone get salaries.
Right.
With Craig.
Sure.
He said, no, I want to be paid more.
Well, I think what I've heard here is Bert showed up to compete in the World Championships because he knew he could get a sponsorship, because he's like, the snowboarding thing where they're at right now, I probably could do that in a day. And he could. And he hiked the pipe and didn't train any gates. He did terrible in the race, but he won the Halfpipe World Championship.
That was one of my things he told me. He's like, focus on one event. That way you can do it. Because I was when I was on Burton. And even Apocalypse a little bit. I did some racing, but I'm very out of, fish out of water.
Sure.
That's where like Kevin Delaney and the Coglins are like, you need to learn how to ride your edges, dude.
Right.
You can't slide around.
Right. But you, in the Halfpipe, you're difficult to beat. Like I know the guys that you're competing against, Palmer, Craig, the whole Burton team.
Well,
like
with the
you
one
were technically getting the points. You knew how to compete.
Well, Craig taught me that.
Yeah.
He said, be methodical. Like, the coolest thing is that guy right there, Chantry, I change your runs up. Don't make it the same all the time.
Right.
And some people couldn't do that. They couldn't just take a trick over here and then put it over there.
No, of course.
And I was good at it.
Yeah, you've got your run laid out, and you've got this leads to this, leads to this, leads to this.
But then you're like, okay, I did that. I got good points. Now I need to change it so the judges notice. Because that's a big thing. If they see the same run, it's repetition, and it's kind of like, and that's where I gain points, because I could always change it up.
There's all sorts of competition things that I've seen, like just being in contact with the competition people that are running it. Throwing your arms up at the end of a run could really affect the judges, going like, what did I miss?
Well, like with Craig, being on Burton was so honorable. Like he was like definitely everybody's mentor at the time. Mm-hmm. And that first year in '90, that summer, he gave me a job at his camp.
Sick.
Checking out snowboards for his campers.
Yeah.
And then I could go up and dig pipe with him.
Yeah.
And ride the pipe. And then I'd have to leave at a certain time to go down and check the camper's equipment back in.
So you learned how to dig pipe from Craig Kelly?
Yes. 100%.
He showed you this is where we start.
Not only that, he showed me how to be a true professional. You don't step on anybody to get ahead. You just do what you can.
Yeah.
But you don't back down. You don't brown nose.
Yeah.
And some people like that and some people didn't. And when I got into I want to be a world champion, that's where I got my, where people didn't like me. Hey, we're friends. It's day of competition. I don't care.
Right.
I want to win.
Right.
I'm being paid. Like when I went to the one U.S. Open and did a McTwist in the competition, Lamar lit me up because it's illegal. I got disqualified.
Yeah.
But the coolest thing is Brian Iguchi did it too, got disqualified.
Yeah.
Jeff Davis did it too,
Sick.
got disqualified.
Sick.
And Jake came up to me after the contest and he said, and said, I'm so sorry. That was so beautiful. I'll see what I can do with insurance for the next year.
Sick.
And we got it.
That's it. That's awesome.
You know, and there's all kinds of like different blips here and there, you know. Time frame, I'm kind of foggy. I wonder why. Time well relived.
Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah. Competing was your thing though, right? Like
I found
you didn't go to the free ride side of things at any point.
I loved to free ride when I could, but it was everyone, you know, it's a powder day. Don't get stuck. Just like yesterday, digging pipe with Jimi Scott. It's always been the same way. But yeah, when Lamar put me on the helicopter and in his video drive, it was one of the greatest days of my life.
Cool.
And I never jumped or anything. I just went fast. I rode Rankwood's board because it's a big board.
Yeah.
Rode better in the powder.
Yep.
And I did. I felt like I was on hallucinogenics when I finished.
Nice.
You know, it was like, oh my God, that was a whole day of just unreal. Like I didn't know that powder was like that. I knew it from resorts where you dip out into the trees, but when the helicopter drops you off and everyone's low and it flies away and you look for miles and you see nothing, it was the greatest.
How was Rankwood as a teammate at that time? Like, did he have your back at contests and stuff?
Yeah,
were you traveling as a team?
He would compete, but I'd say Rankwood was just too much fun.
Yeah.
He wouldn't unload the let's compete and be serious. He'd be just like, let's have fun. You know?
Yeah.
And there's some good video. If you watch the Lamar videos, you can see Rankwood and us on the train.
On the train,
yeah, like he's wasted.
He's so wasted.
Yeah. Well, we all were kind of.
That's
why we were having so much fun. But he was great, and I think he went to GNS, if I remember right.
I think GNS was before. It was GNS before Rankwood. Where did he go? 5150.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He went to 5150, which got bought by Ride.
GNS was at the same factory, and it was Henry Hester doing it.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
I see Henry all the time, and he always says,
I think Henry's coming up here.
Is Henry coming?
Is Henry up here, you guys? Henry Hester? No.
No.
He's afraid to challenge me.
There was a rumor, but yeah. And Henry was one of those 70s skaters.
Well, I did the Hester series.
The Hester series. He was a legend.
I did skating.
Legend.
And he always told me, he's like, man, because his boards and our boards, Apocalypse, were made in the same factory.
Sick.
And he was trying to get me.
That's where
and
they
he's
were
like,
made.
oh, you and Rankwood, it would have been great advertisement.
Yeah.
A good guy and a bad guy.
Yeah, you could have done. Yeah, that's actually good. Like actual smart marketing.
I wasn't as good as everyone thought, but
Oh, of course. Yeah, you had the California image. It was the roller skating. People just couldn't get over the roller skating. It just seems like a bygone era when really there was competitive roller skating right alongside skateboarding, like you said, up until the
Castle Series and ASPO,
80s,
Associated Skate Park Owners.
Yeah.
I did all that, and it was fun. I mean, Fred Blood, he did the 540 first.
What a sick name, dude. That's just a badass name.
ABC Sports took it to a height and then quit skating and started BMXing. What a blow to the vertical roller skating community.
Well, that's it. That's it. That's what happened, right? Is that pretty much everybody from that became a skater or a skateboarder or a BMX guy.
Yeah, no, he was great. Fred's always been nice. When I ever got to meet him a few times, Duke Renning was pretty much my teacher, and then Jamie Ide.
These are all names I don't know.
Wow, they're part of history. I mean, Duke still skates. I'm so jealous of everybody because I've had some surgeries that keep me from skating. I've had, 4 knee surgeries, broken ankle, pin plate, broken elbow. I just recently, it kind of sucks to even say in truth, but 4 years ago, had a hip replacement, and then came up here 2 years ago, and then in the middle of that time broke my calcaneus, which is your ankle bone, and I was on crutches for 6 months.
Oof.
And then by all my weight being on one side, I had to have another hip surgery, so I have 2 prosthetic hips. And
damn.
All I know is I'm lucky I can still surf with my kids, and I can still rail my board, which is that is the funnest thing still. I'm like, catching air, I don't know, and
there's consequences now.
Oh yeah, no,
It's
as
nuts.
you get older, it catches up. That's for sure.
Does anyone have a beat on Evan Fiend's age?
Yeah, I think so.
So Evan Fiend's in his 60s, pretty sure.
I'm 55.
And he hit that. His line is right there under the chair. It's a solid Hawaiian 20-foot cliff. It's probably 50 feet.
When did you do that?
Yesterday.
Awesome.
It was the raddest shit I've ever seen in my whole fucking life. Evan Fiend, 40 years into snowboarding, hitting a 40-foot
Founders,
cliff.
they can pull it out of their back pocket when they want to.
It's unbelievable. So yeah, I mean, you were in my history of it in my head, you were like competitor's competitor in, or the anti-competitor's competitor in snowboard halfpipe. Like people just didn't want you to win. They just wanted to take you down. I remember Terrier says, "Jimmy, I'm going to do everything that you do, but 5 feet bigger," or whatever. Like he wanted to mess with you.
No, I think at that point in my career, it was, it was fun to always be at the events. But if you were there and you're not going out tonight, no, because I really want to win. Like if you're there to compete, that's just what Craig said. If you're there to compete. Make your mind up. Are you there to hang out with your friends, or are you there to compete?
Right.
And I took the path. I want to be a pathic competitor,
Yeah.
And that, got me a lot of shit,
Bit of hate, yeah.
Sorry to cuss. I just, it's
called the fucking Rad Snowboard Podcast.
Okay, cool.
So
Even better.
Good. Yeah.
No, but I wanted to, because once I won the world title the first time, and then I broke myself.
Yeah.
All I said to myself was, I just like to come back to the level when I broke myself. I'm not trying to prove better or anything.
Sure.
And I kept going.
And the progression every year was crazy, right? Like, so you're trying to keep up with the progression of tricks. The pipes are getting bigger. The tricks are getting bigger, more technical.
Well, it was kind of an odd moment in 94, 95, 96. Like it was, because I'm like, not winning as much, but I'm still in the top 5, so I think I can do it. And then the U.S. Open, I think it was 96. I won it again.
Damn. Oh yeah, it was you were on Ice Age and the whole team was just celebrating. Like, fuck, he just won he won the Open.
My greatest story of my superhero is Botello. It stood toe-to-toe with Palmer.
Yeah.
Palmer wasn't happy about it.
Of course.
And,
Yeah, what was it like to compete against Palmer when you're doing 12 hits, he's doing 3 hits?
Yeah, but I'm trying to learn from him, but I still want to be like what Craig said. Do as much as you can.
Yeah.
And then I started kind of changing a little bit, trying to go a little bit bigger, but I still found myself more technical.
Yeah, of course.
But I'd go big, like when
I'll put it in there. I'll take a picture of that inside poster of the thing. That's a solid air in a 12-foot pipe in 1995 or something.
Yeah,
it's dope.
It was fun. I mean, it's still fun snowboarding, which makes it really cool, like surfing.
Yeah.
I mean, I go to the pump track with my son on a skateboard, but I go really mellow. But to be able to still do it at my age with my injuries. If I had no injuries, I'm sure I'd be doing hand plants and different things, or even trying. But like, I think in my head, don't get hurt.
Can you believe
this? 3 kids.
Terrier and Todd Richards are still doing McTwists.
No, I'm still so jealous. You have no idea.
Yeah, it's epic, idea. Right? It's epic. It's the longevity thing happened while we were in it. Like,
but they've never. Todd blew his elbow up.
Did he?
Yeah, he had all those pins in it. But Terry has never blown his body up.
He was injured. He was injured a lot in the late '90s, but not in a way that was public. You know what I mean? Like he was rehabbing injuries that were
not made public.
But
it's really interesting if you think about this. Is all the athletes in the last, I'd say, 10 years, if they get hurt, the media makes a big thing about it. But when we got hurt, they just kind of brushed us aside.
There were a couple of main players that got hurt, like Cersei Wallace got hurt, and then she just got dropped from the team. And she said, fuck that. I got hurt at work. When you're at work and you get hurt, you can't get fired for that shit. So she
was
sued
a little different back then.
Yeah, she sued and won. But yeah, now I'm thinking of someone like Mark McMorris. There's actually the Red Bull. One of the big things about being a Red Bull athlete is that you've got this rehabilitation center they send you to strength training and get you right back out there.
Glad we got all that going for him in the beginning.
Yeah, which is like, I look at it and I'm like, that's borderline, like torture or something. Like I'm sure that they give them PTSD therapy and everything, right? Like, so you get back out there with that mindset and go.
When I got hurt, I had Barry Zaritsky, who like Tony Hawk's knee when he blew it up, and he went to Hawaii and it kept catching, and he came home and he got surgery.
Yeah.
And I blew my knee up. I went to Barry because I had a contest in, I think it was Savannah Slamma.
Oh, I remember that one.
And I couldn't ollie. And I said, hey, Barry, my doctor said it's my hamstring. And he said, sit on the table. And he grabbed my knee and he goes, it's not your hamstring, that's your ACL. You don't have it anymore.
Oh, gross.
So I hired Barry to be my trainer.
That's amazing.
I actually went to the Bahamas to his house.
Killer.
And did 2 weeks there. You went to there? Yeah. Wasn't it cool? Fishing every day? Oh my God, it was a dream come true. I took one of my best friends because he blew out his toe. I know it sounds funny, but it was a back injury toe. It's weird, but he went with me, and I got crazy stories about that time because we hung out with Lenny Kravitz, drummer, and all kinds of stuff. It was really a cool thing, you know. But what Barry told me is, like, if you get hurt and you want to come back to whatever level you're at, you got to be serious. And it's really cool to see the kids these days, like now, they are that serious.
Oh, hell yeah.
And when I was doing it, people would joke, you know, like it wasn't, you're being too serious. And I still wanted to win.
Right.
You know, I want to win.
Yeah, because you're competing against guys that didn't sleep last night. And they're getting close. They're like, sometimes you're getting beat by somebody that is high as fuck, drunk all night, and still winning. You know?
No, like, so it makes you sad, you know, when you think back about it. You know, so a lot of us in the early snowboard industry, like I think I would call it second gen.
Yeah,
you
are.
I think that's what it'd be. Second gen really molded what came out. The third gen was Shaun White.
Yeah, sure.
You know, the Playboy contest at Snow Summit. Me and Jamil, and you know, he won, I didn't. There was a lot of back and forth about who should have won. I was pretty pissed. So I went down to the bar and had a few beers. And all of a sudden, Mrs. White's tugging on my shirt. Can you come up to the pipe and teach Shaun a McTwist? And I was like, I don't know. I've had a few beers, you know. And I was like, I'll do it. And I went up and I taught him a McTwist, Rob Kingwell McTwist, JF Pelchek the McTwist, and Trevor Andrew, all on a wall that was maybe this big.
Trevor Andrew's McTwist is
and then
legendary.
He took it. He went so big.
Still now.
He did it like Christian did. He just went up and kept going up.
Yeah. It's unreal.
But it's a fact.
Yeah.
Anyone can argue. It's not. It's a fact.
That was You were the McTwist.
The coolest thing is
teacher.
Shaun White and his snowboard interview with when he's really tiny at Mount Hood, doing the McTwist and the frame by frame. He gave me credit for teaching him.
Sick.
But he also said, well, he was kind of drunk.
That's amazing.
But his mom got me in the bar. I didn't want to go back up the hill.
And so that's like a rare instance too. Like, you're not getting drunk at all these events, are you?
No way. No, I won, but I didn't.
Yeah.
So I was pissed. You know, that was my mentality at that point.
I get it. You know, it's
and
tough if you're a competitor, I'd imagine, to...
Yeah, you never know.
The nuances of the judging. Like, I remember people with the judging sucks, you know, written on the bottom of their board. Or
I've won contests that I know I shouldn't have won.
Sure.
And I've lost contests that I know in my heart I should have won.
Right.
You know, and that's just how it is. When you're being judged, you're open to just people's opinions.
That's
judge's opinions.
He's looking over at Chantry right now in Bostitch. That's a clip. That was the clip. I've never heard that quote by anyone. Like, I've won contests that I shouldn't have won.
Yeah.
That's a big admission. But like that goes to show you that the judging is organic. If it was always one way, if you always won contests that you shouldn't have won, you know what I mean, and you never get robbed.
It's also because of like how the sponsors run you. You know, like if they're doing
20
ads of you.
Remember the brushy Palmer switch? Is that what it was? Palmer put on Brushy's gear and scored higher as Brushy than Brushy scored as Palmer.
I remember that event.
Yeah. And they were testing
Chantry
the judging.
And whoever else was there was kind of mad about that.
Yeah, were you mad about that? What? Palmer running Brushy's gear. They switched gears to try and test the judging. That was what they were saying.
You cheater.
They have completely different styles.
I don't care, clothes, you know, mask, whatever.
Right.
The style is there.
It's there.
You can't really cover that up.
Joel Gomez just walked in. Hey, Joel. Right on. The Legends of Tahoe. Okay, Jimmy, let's...
Could I go one more?
Of course you can.
1999, I won the X Games.
Jesus.
And the year before, I didn't qualify.
Right.
I argued with Don over there.
Yeah.
I should have made it.
Right.
But it was really cool because in the judging format, because you were talking judging, that's what brought it up.
Yeah.
What I see today and the difference is the judging format in the X Games that I won was 3 runs, 2 runs combined. And what it showed is a consistency of the athlete.
Right.
Where now it's like your best run.
Yes.
And I still think, like with Ross Powers, he'd always be consistent. That's how I think judging should be. That should still be 3 runs, but 2 runs combined.
Right.
Because it really shows the athletes doing it over and over, not just a miracle run.
The miracle run is the risk factor, right? Like, so you're pushing your athletes to try shit that is maybe outside of their comfort zone.
Totally.
Because they could have a Hail Mary and win.
Yeah.
Whereas the consistency thing, there's an argument to be made there, and I think you just made it, that it's like we're trying to find the guy
best
who's
of the best.
So Terrier said it when I interviewed him. He said the best contests weren't the Olympics, obviously, because he didn't go to the Olympics, but he's like, the best contests were when everybody was there and nobody was hurt. Like, so if you're going against Jimmy and Craig and like just all the competitor guys, Sean and everyone, and nobody's hurt, and Brush, and just, you know what I mean? Like that, he wanted to win the contest where everybody was on their best.
Well, yeah,
and let's see who's the
everybody.
fucking best.
If you're on top of your game,
yeah,
that's how you felt.
Yeah,
because you don't want to be given it. Like I said,
you don't want to win because somebody
broke
broke their arm or something that was beating you. You want to win the contest because you're that good.
But I mean, if you're that good and you fall,
well, then you're not that good, right?
Well, no, it's just like that was your random run that you fell, and the other guy didn't fall, and he got the points, and you didn't.
Right.
And he was consistent. I mean, Terrier, two contests with Terrier that I remember really good in my mind was Zizertal, Italy, and Breckenridge, and both of them, that's where I was like trying to go as big as I could.
Yeah.
And Terry went big and landed on the deck and belly flopped in both contests, backside method air.
Oh wow!
And I won them.
Yeah.
I won those events, and then I took the world championships at the last one. And in the magazine, Terrier quoted, "You can't be a world championship or world champion unless you go above the lip." And John Foster wrote, "I guess he didn't see this," and he printed a picture, and I was like 8-9 feet out at Breckenridge doing a big method, and that's where there's some bitterness, but Terry Hawkinson is one of my idols and friends.
Yeah, that rivalry, because you didn't just have it with Terry, you had it with everybody.
Oh, Brushy,
Palmer,
Keith Wallace.
Yeah.
I mean,
Palmer told me one time that you did the jinx thing, you're gonna fall, Palmer, like that right when he was dropping in, and it made him so mad.
Oh yeah, no, hey,
yeah,
Palmer's. He's an animal.
He's an animal.
He's the best in a lot of sports. And when I look back, I should have had a lot more respect for Palmer.
Right.
Right. And tried to learn more from him.
Right.
But instead, I kind of set on the Craig Kelly path.
Yeah.
So, but it was all right.
Kind of a hybrid of Craig, plus you could talk the shit.
Whether Palmer believes it or not, he was one of my teachers.
Of course.
And mentor. And,
of course.
It's nothing but fun in all those competitions, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Except for the Olympic competition when, there was a lot of...
So you got to the Olympics. You made the Olympic team. No, you didn't. Let's tell this story, because this is crazy.
The year before the Olympics, I did I jumped off ISF and went to FIS.
Yeah.
And
that's going to put you on Terrier's radar, by the way, because he's saying
I know he peed on the Olympic rings. I remember.
Right, exactly.
So this is going to hurt to tell this one. I got America a spot, and Ross Powers got America a spot.
What does that mean?
That means that you have so many people at each contest being in the top 10 or 5 or whatever it is from America. However many are in there is how many guys get to go.
So if America boycotted the FIS, then they wouldn't have had a spot at the Olympics if you guys would have stayed at ISF.
So Ross Powers, me, and Dan, we got America the globe, the glass globe for the FIS. And I don't know the exact number, but I guess the Skiing Federation, they haven't had one with skiing in 8 years or 10 years.
So what's the globe? That means your top 3 guys.
We won.
1, 2, 3.
America won. And the globe's in Salt Lake City. You can see it with the year and all that on it.
That's sick.
So the next year, you got to keep the spot going with the points.
Yep.
So I went, Ross went, Dan went. We all went to Europe, right away. And in the middle of going to there, the ISF sued the FIS that this isn't fair, that your organization gets to go and all these guys in this organization don't get to go. So we would like to do Grand Prix. And the Grand Prix contests were kind of crazy and kind of gnarly because I had to skip tour to do these contests.
So this is a mixed contest of FIS,
Yes.
ISF.
Yes.
Where FIS is going, well, if you can follow our rules, then
Right.
then we can,
And
you can have
they didn't like
sanctioned
it.
events.
So
Right.
what ended up happening is they did the Grand Prix, and I got America's spot, and should win. Kind of got cheated. But the last event in calculation, all I needed was to get 15th place. And I had a clean run. I went for 720, landed 540 but didn't fall. Improvised, finished my run clean. And a good friend of mine who doesn't live anymore, a great guy, Jeff Anderson, he fell second or third hit. And people reached down in the middle of the half pipe, pulled him up. He continued his run. I got 16th place. I think he got 14th. And when I went to protest on the stand, they wouldn't let me do it because my team, they said, your team manager has to do this. This is an Olympic deal. And my team manager was out free riding. Thanks, Botello.
Man.
And it really, when I went back to my room, there was a lot of people that didn't make the team. And it was like a hallway of crying.
Yeah. That's
It
a
hurt
big
me.
deal.
It hurt
That's
me.
a big deal.
So-
You went all the way there.
Oh, yeah.
And then missed it by a
And it sucks because I
spot.
love Jeff, man.
Yeah.
But to even say it, it's like I have.
Yeah. And it's not his fault, and it's
No,
not
I
the
know,
judge's
it's
fault.
just-
It's not the thing.
sorry.
It's the situation.
It's truth.
Is such that you
With that
could have
first
gone
Olympic year.
to the first Olympics,
And then I think
it would have been a
was
different deal.
It was a contest in Europe, like right after the Olympics.
Yeah.
I won. I beat Guillaume, who got the gold medal.
Right.
You know, Daniel.
He came out of kind of nowhere, really.
Todd didn't go to Europe. you
Yeah.
know?
Todd
got
falling.
silver.
Todd falling was like.
and
he was
Daniel
pissed.
Frank got third, and I
Daniel,
won. I
yeah,
won the event.
yeah.
And I was pissed because
Yeah,
I didn't get to
of
go.
Of course.
And that's really.
It's also the nature of contests, right?
Yeah.
And competition is that.
But you're not supposed to pick someone up.
Right.
You know,
oh yeah.
You know, so that's what made me so mad. And when I went to get my team manager, he's out free riding powder. And
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you do?
What do you do? It's such a frustrating
you take it.
thing.
You gotta take it.
It's the most frustrating thing. So yeah, I mean, 98 until now, it's 26 years of fucking harboring that pain. I'm glad that you got to put it out there.
It's just truth, you know.
That's a fucking hard thing to deal with.
Well, better than my X Games gold medal or my World Championships.
Yeah.
Is having my kids.
Yeah.
Getting married and.
Yeah.
Watching them cheer for me come down the hill and knowing that, you know, whatever they want to do is next, and that really is the best trophy you can have as a family.
Sure. Yeah.
And I'll do my best to uphold it. You know, you can't be a perfect husband all the time, you know.
Oh God, no. Yeah.
So
that's sick, dude. That's super sick. What event did you win in '99? Halfpipe?
Yeah, Don Bostic's event, the X Games.
Unfucking believable.
And everyone wanted me out. You've been in this too long, and I won. And then I went to. What was it? I think it was not Vermont, but Okemo, I think. I won that event. And then I went to Canada, and they took 5 of us to the finals.
Yeah.
And I was in first. I want to say.
Michael Chuck?
No.
Was it
One of the
era?
Canadians. He's so good.
Derek Height. There's Alan Clark.
No, pipe rider. Marcus Morse. No, not, it might have been. I don't know, but I scored first in the qualifier.
Yeah.
And my first run, I did a backside McTwist, frontside McTwist.
Shit.
720 to 720, and when I landed the second 720, landed perfect, and I blew out my other knee.
Oh God.
And that was the end of my career.
And that was it.
Yeah,
you went out on a fucking.
I told Ted when I stopped, because I stopped, I stood up.
Yeah.
And then I sat down, I unbuckled and sat on the board and went down.
Yeah.
And Ted said, "What's wrong? It looked like you just stopped."
Yeah.
Because I did. I landed and then just.
Yeah.
And I stood up and I'm like, something's really wrong. And I rode down and I told Ted, he goes, "Did you hear a pop?" And I go, "So much." He goes, "You blew your knee out."
Oh.
And then I still got, I think, 3rd place for my run.
Right.
And I was on the podium with crutches. But that was like the last big contest that I did. And then the last big one after that, after came back, was the Vans, where
Triple Crowns.
Todd won.
Those were
and,
sick.
And Sean White got second.
Nice.
Todd was 30, and Sean was like 15 or 14.
Yeah, that's
and
epic.
Twice his age. So,
That's
and that's when the
unbelievable.
new came
Yeah,
in. Like, That's when it really
that was
started.
the end of it. That was the end of the legend.
I broke my
legendary
board.
era.
Brian Harper let me use his board, and he was judging, and that
Harper
was
on that Lamar team with you
yeah,
too.
no,
He was
that's
one
what
of
made it really fun.
Amazing dudes. Wow, Jimmy, you've had
There's a blip of history for you.
That was really, really sweet, dude. Thank you for doing the show.
Well, I appreciate it. I
I've
hope
reached
I
out
didn't
to you
hurt
for a long
anybody.
time. Well, it's only Botello, and he, you know what? Even if he
I love
listens,
Botello still.
Yeah,
man.
I love him too. He is a character of that snowboard era.
I know.
That is just, he's a legend. Remember when we were on the Ice Age team and he got one of the ads? There was like,
yeah, we
there
were
was
like,
like
what's with
5
that? The team,
ads.
it said something like, if you get my
Patel.
answer machine, this is where I'm at.
Yeah,
something like that.
And
he's
it was like
jumping.
a burger shot of
Yeah.
him, just like big turn in some trees somewhere.
Yeah.
I love those days because for me, I was a pretend pro. I didn't have any of what you just were talking about. I wanted to party, and I wanted to get in the magazines, but I didn't want to do the work.
The people on top still partied. Terry partied, I partied. You know.
Yeah.
So it's not like.
But you guys had like some professional background. You knew what you were doing.
Yeah.
Riding with
Pathic Warrior. You want to win.
Yeah. And one of my favorite memories was on that Bend trip when Frank Osborne and I realized there was a roller skating rink, like an ice rink it was cement, right?
Yeah, I thought it was an ice skating rink because Gilly was good at hockey, and he had to wear ice skating or figure skating things, and he kept catching him falling.
We might have done it a couple of times. This one, I remember we were on roller skates, and I was like, I didn't know how to roller skate at all. I needed the cage almost. And then you were doing some shit that was just like flat ground tricks, skates opposite each other, flips around, that we were just like, that's impossible. That's impossible.
What is it? The quote is, why was it so good at that time? It's because we were young.
That's it.
I think that's from Biloxi Blues.
Love it. Thanks, Jimmy.
Hey, thank you very much for the opportunity.
That was epic. Yeah, we did an hour there. That was great. FNRad shoutouts to Jimi Scott and his family. It was great to meet you guys at the Legends event. Special thanks to Mike Chantry and Don Bostic for putting on the event. Go watch the N-Men documentary on YouTube right now for more about those two legends. Thanks to Bass, Fulton, Angie, El Jefe, and Alan for letting me crash their party and stay with them in beautiful Donner Lake. That was seriously so rad. And thank you to everyone who came up and said hi at the Donner event. Nice to meet all of you. The Patreon supporters make it possible for me to do this, and the sponsors have kept me from having to have a job for 8 months now. Be sure to come back next week for another episode of FNRad Snowboarding, presented by Skyview Campers and brought to you by FNRad Productions.